This presentation will help you in your understanding of the LCM. The LCM, otherwise known as the least common multiple, is the least whole number that each integer divides.
To find the LCM of 6 and 8, we first have to see each of their multiples. Multiples are integers that are multiplied by another integer to get a product. For example, 6 times 3 equals 18. 3 is a multiple of 18. In this case, we are finding all multiples of 6 and 8. A simple method of finding the LCM is by listing all the multiples until you find a common one. So let's start with 6. 6 times 1 equals 6. 6 times 2 equals 12. 6 times 3 equals 18. 6 times 4 equals 24. 6 times 5 equals 30. Now let's move on to 8. 8 times 1 equals 8. 8 times 2 equals 16. 8 times 3 equals 24. Now we can see we have an LCM of 24 because it is the first common product we set out of these two sets. 24 is your LCM.
For this second problem, we're going to do the same thing as we did in the first problem. Make a list of multiples for each 15 and 6. 15 times 1 equals 15. 15 times 2 equals 30. 15 times 3 equals 45. 15 times 4 equals 60. Okay, let's move on to 6. 6 times 1 equals 6. 6 times 2 equals 12. 6 times 3 equals 18. 6 times 4 equals 24. And 6 times 5 equals 30. Here we have the least common multiple of 30 because it is the first common product we see out of these two sets of multiples. 30 is your LCM. This problem is a little more complicated. To solve this problem, first you want to find the least common denominator. In this case, we find that 8 is the LCD because 8 is the first common product we see out of the sets of multiples of 2 and 8. Now we are going to multiply the LCD by both sides of the equation. (9y plus 5 over 8 times 8 can be simplified to 9y plus 5 because the denominator can be canceled out. Y minus 6 over 2 times 8 can be simplified to 4y minus 24. This is because when you are multiplying the denominator 2 and the LCM 8, you can simplify each by dividing by 2. The denominator cancels out and you're left multiplying 4 by y minus 6. Again, this can be simplified to 4y minus 24. Now you're going to combine like terms. Add 9y and 4y. This equals 13y. Now add 5 and negative 24. This equals negative 19. Okay, now you add 19 to both sides of the equation. This equals 91. Now you divide both sides of the equation by 13 to isolate the variable. This leaves you with 91 over 13, which can be simplified to 7. So your final answer is 7.
This problem is very similar to the previous one. To solve this problem, first you want to find the least common denominator. In this case, we find that 8 is the LCD because 8 is the first common product we see out of the sets of multiples of 4 and 8. Now we're going to multiply the LCD by both sides of the equation. (5v plus 4 over 8 times 8 can be simplified to 5v plus 4 because they can be canceled out. 4v minus 5 over 4 times 8 can be simplified to 8v minus 10 because when you are multiplying by the denominator of 10 and the LCM of 8, you can simplify each by dividing by 4. The denominator cancels out and you are left with multiplying 2 by 4v minus 5. This again can be simplified to 8v minus 10. Now you're going to combine like terms. Add 5v and 8v. This equals 13v. Now add 4 and negative 10. You are left with the equation 72 equals 13v minus 6. Now you add 6 to both sides of the equation and you get 78 equals 13v. Now you divide both sides of the equation by 13 to isolate the variable v. You get v equals 78 over 13, which can be simplified to 6. So v equals 6.
This problem is somewhat different from the last ones we've done so far because it involves fractions. We start off by finding the LCD. The LCD of 1, 4, and 3 is 12. So we multiply everything by 12. Negative 4v times 12 is negative 48v. 7 over 4 times 12 is 21 because the 4 can be canceled out and the 12 can be changed into a 3. 7 times 3 is 21. Negative 3 over 4v times 12 can also be simplified. You can cross off the 4 and change the 12 into a 3. Negative 3v times 3 is negative 9v. In negative 2/3 times 12, the 3 can be crossed off and the 12 can be changed into a 4. 2 times 4 is 8. You are left with the equation negative 48v plus 21 equals negative 9v minus 8. You subtract 21 by both sides of the equation. You are then left with the equation negative 48v equals negative 9v plus negative 29. You then Add 9b to both sides of the equation. This leaves you with negative 39b equals negative 29. You then divide both sides of the equation by negative 39. This leaves you with the answer b equals 29 over 39.
This last problem also involves fractions. We are going to start off by finding the LCD like in the previous problems. The LCD of 5 and 2 is 10, so we are going to multiply everything by 10. Negative 7 over 5u times 10 can be simplified to negative 14u by crossing out the 5 and changing the 10 to a 2. Negative 3 times 10 is negative 30. 1/2 over 2 times 10 can be simplified to 5u because the 10 can be simplified to a 5 and the 2 can be crossed out. Negative 5 over 2 times 10 can be simplified to 25 to negative 25 because the 2 can be crossed out and the 10 becomes a 5. Now we have the equation negative 14u minus 30 equals 5u minus 25. To isolate the variable, we add 30 to both sides of the equation. We then get negative 14u equals 5u plus 5. We subtract 5 to both sides of the equation and we get negative 19u equals 5. To isolate the variable, we then divide by negative 19. We then get u equals 5 over negative 19.